Coming up in today's video, we have already been here and done an EICR and the house has failed miserably. So we've got some fault finding to do, we've got some top tips for the consumer unit to be replaced, why we've installed it that way, and also the craziest shower install I think I've ever seen. So hopefully you learn a lot from this video, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, help the channel grow, and let's get stuck into the video. Okay, so we're going to be changing this board out here. So we're going to be upgrading this for a consumer unit, which has got a surge protection device at source. We've got full RCD protection on every circuit, because on this one, we haven't got any RCD protection on the downstairs lights, upstairs lights, and cooker. So we've already previously come out and done a EICR on this property, and we've got a few things that needs to be altered. The main reason why we're here is to change this. Up there is the actual shower. So this shower arrangement is packed up, which is not surprising. I've never ever seen the shower system installed in this way at all. So I haven't taken the cover off, that's how I came to it. So let's take you upstairs and show you what's going on up there. Okay, so we've got our mains isolator here and into the shower, and we've got an additional one here and the feed out. So what the plan is, we're going to take that off, the one downstairs off, we're going to run a new feed up, and we're going to be fitting a 10 kilowatt shower, standard electric shower, and doing a bit of tile repair on that one. So first things first, we're going to get that board off, get that swapped out, and get cracking. Okay, so we've got the board obviously off now, and we're going to fit the standoff kit, which is what this is. Now the standoff kit is much easier for installation wise for all the cables coming in. It's purposely made for the job, so it just makes a lot neater finish rather than just having bits of timber on the wall or whatever. So what I've done is I've moved the whole board down slightly in this way, so I've only got to extend the one cable, which is for actually for a stair lift. So just got to extend that one. So board prep. So we've knocked all the back out. We put our edging strip in. So this edging strip is much better than what comes with the board, because the edging strip that we buy is actually from an online retailer that delivers the next day. It's just so much easier, so much faster, and also it doesn't come off when you're putting the actual cables through. So we've got these cables coming down. So this is the original sockets that actually goes into the floor. There's a bit of galvanized conduit that's actually sticking out the floor, and this is my cooker circuit. So what we're going to do is going to keep them coming through this end on this one, and then we're going to be bringing everything else through here. Now the meter tails, we're going to bring them through onto the bottom, so we're going to put a big gland on there, which is that one. We're going to put that in, and then that way it can all locks in nice and tight. So let's get that fitted. Okay, so little tip when installing RCBOs. So for the flying leads, they can always be a bit annoying. So rather than shorten them all, so if you put your RCBO this end, tuck all your wiring back there first, install that in there, and then as you push it, it hides all the cabling at the back and leaves you a shorter length there. All this will be hidden behind, you don't have to worry about it. Saves cutting and putting the bootlace ferrules on. Okay, so the board is pretty much in place. So I've got one more cable which is down here. I've just got to extend, like I say, for the stair lift. So we've got to extend that. So this is what I would call a real world consumer unit. There's nothing too jazzy about it. It doesn't have to spend hours and hours and hours faffing about making sure that every single cable is all in place and looped up and all the rest of it. It's daft. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some banding strap wrapped round, clamp that to there, and obviously all the way up to the stairs as well, because we've got nothing going on for that. So obviously in the case of a fire at the minute, all these cables will hang down all in the way. Same as on here, we'll get this all clamped up. So what I'm also going to do is fit an MET. So for those of you who don't know what an MET is, it's a main earthing terminal. So what I'm then going to do is pick up the water bond and the gas bond all in one go, because I think at the minute it's just a little bit awkward the way the configuration has been. So we'll put an MET on, and then that will take care of that. So it's time now to get it all energised up, get it all sorted. The time is 11:45 in the morning. And I've been here since 8:30, so I've got that sorted. So it's not, I don't think it's too bad timing. So let me know in the comments below whether you think that is a absolute lifetime for what I've done, or that's not too bad at all. Considering, like I say, it's not too untidy. Like I say, that's more than adequate. For somebody else coming in the future, take the board cover off, would look at that and go, actually, yeah, that's not bad. Now, bearing in mind, I've already done the testing on this property as well. So there's a couple of little faults on some of the circuits, which we'll go through later on in the video with you, but yeah, so not too shabby. Okay, so we're now going to be looking at extending this cable now, which feeds the stair lift. So we put a Wago box on, some 221 connectors on, so I've just fixed that to the wall. So now I'm going to put a bit of 2.5mm earth shore on. Put that into there, and then tuck those into the Wago box. Like so, and then what I want is that to come in like there and there. And then I'm going to put that cable, tuck that up that side, clip it up, and then drop it back down into the board. Okay, so I'm going to put some banding strap around here, and obviously all the way down, and then we're going to start putting it all up here as well, so we can all take all these cables, just in case of a fire, they all stay in place. Okay, so we've now got our strapping on, so we've waxed them up there, and yeah, we've got to go a little bit further up, but I've got to get that shower out of the way at the minute. So, as always, with using the label maker, it's always one of those cases where it really irritates me when that happens. We've all been there. Come on, leave it in the comments below. How irritating is that for a feeling? So, I've had to break out some emergency tape. Are you ready for this? Oh, black. So I've had to go on the black tape because that is all I've got right now. It's either black or yellow, so I don't know which one would you prefer. Let me know, because I'm not entirely sure on the black anyway. I only bought this because we were doing a load of black mattresses and black sockets, and they were all inside a unit, funnily enough. So because they were inside the unit, they're all black, we needed to have the black tape, and that's the second time I've ever used that. So it is what it is. I mean, if I can change it, if I can be bothered, I will do, but obviously it's a little bit of the OCD side of things kicking in. So I'm going to go upstairs now. I'm going to start looking at the shower stuff and try and figure out what the hell is going on. Okay, so it's starting to make a little bit more sense. So we've got our 10mm that comes up to the isolator here, and then I've just whipped that off the wall. So that here is essentially on there with a bracket. So it looks like that this is like an actuator to control the shower, which is downstairs, which is that configuration. So we can see that the pipe for the cold feed, which is this one, that goes back up underneath the floor. And if you see that black cable there, Then that black cable then comes into this control module here and allows you, well, the shower effectively to know when you're calling for activation. And then this pipe here is actually the feed pipe then back up to the shower. Very, very random. I've never seen this sort of setup before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the isolator off here, get that off, make sure that obviously there's no water flowing through, and then I can strip all this lot out, get rid of this, disconnect the outgoing supply for the shower, because then that needs to be pulled up. So we'll lift the floor up as well on the landing, and then we can try and figure out the best course of action going forward for getting all the pipe work and the cabling sorted. So yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one, this one, isn't it? Okay, so we've had a little bit of a investigation work now. So I've now traced the actual cable. So the cable runs down. There's actually a bit of a false landing, should we say, like a mini landing to take away. So you've got 2 steps down. So that's changed. So what I've then done is pulled up the floor, which I'll show you now. So in here, we've pulled up the floor. I've lifted up these 2 floorboards so I can now see where my cold feed is, but it's not exactly very accessible. So I'm gonna have to do the joints underneath the stairs where you can see. So I've just brought those through. So what the plan is gonna happen now is we're gonna disconnect this, get this out of the way. When the new shower gets mounted, which will be coming tomorrow anyway, we're then going to drill through from this end. So we're going to mount the shower up, drill through to the back, and then the cable for the supply from there, and also the water supply, which is going to be coming from down here, is going to be run externally. Now, the reason behind the external pipework and cabling, because if I do it and chop all the wall in, it forces the client's hand into all the decor and all the rest of it. So they're not sure when that's going to happen. So what we're going to do is going to do it externally, and that way they can crack on and there's no stress as such. You can just take all that away. So what that means is I'm now going to take away the rest of the old shower, isolate all that out, get that gone, put that front back on for now. But it means that I can then, there's 2 sockets downstairs which need to be raised as well, because they are mounted to the skirting board. So we're going to join those and bring them above underneath the floor. And the client's actually moved all of the stuff in the lounge, so I could do with getting those sorted. So tonight he can then move all that stuff back, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So for tonight, I'm going to be putting the board back down. I'm not going to screw it down at all. It's only one big piece of the chipboard flooring anyway, so I'm not going to screw it down because it's kind of pointless to do that for literally tonight. So I'm going to lay the carpet back down loose, pull the screws to one side, and then that way tomorrow morning I'm not going to have too much wasted time. Okay, so I've now stripped out the shower itself. So we've got rid of the actual supply for it. So we've cut it off at the top. So that is gone. I've now cut off the actual cold feed because I've also put a stop end on. Yes, I've got an isolator here, but these notoriously have problems. So they will end up starting to leak through. So just for the sake of it, I thought I'd put that on for tonight and cut off the old feed pipe going up to the shower. So we're all pretty much there. Obviously this will all go. We'll cut all this off and then we'll fix some of this back to, you know, the wall or timber or whatever we can do with it. So yeah, we're pretty much sorted now for where we need to be. So we just need to get that shower on. So like I said, I've got the front on here, so that's all in and tidy. I've cut off the old unit, so this is all loose now. So what I now need to do is figure out when I get the new shower. It's going to be hopefully it's in the one that's been ordered. It's a Triton T80Z, so it's quite a standard, easy bit of kit to use. So we'll mount that up, trying to cover up as much as we can. Drill all the way through, which will be fine. So it should mean that I've just got these 2 tiles to replace here to get rid of this basically. So yeah, so that should hopefully be it. But we haven't got that today, which is a bit of a pain, but it is what it is. So we're going to get on with stripping out and sorting these sockets out in the lounge. So as you can see, we've got a socket here which actually through into the skirting board. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut up the floor and we're going to join it up here, and then we're going to raise it up to the top. If there's enough slack on the cable, obviously we won't put joints in, but I've allowed for the joints to go in because obviously we don't really know. So I can see, so key for doing these is you're looking for any of the nail marks, so you know that you've got a joist, because ideally you want to be just cutting through where a joist is and take a panel out. So at the minute I've got a nail there, so that's ideal. So I'll cut this side and then I'll pull this carpet back a little bit, and then there'll be one around here somewhere. So let's whip this floor up. Just going to take the front off. I have isolated off the power for obvious reasons, so it looks like we've got a fair amount of slack under there. So we're going to pull that off and see if I can tuck the wire up, because essentially what we're going to do is be mounting the back box somewhere around like that, and then we can put a blank plate on there and get that all finished. So hopefully I can unpick it and get it like that. Yeah, definitely. Look, we've got loads and loads and loads of slack on there. So I'll unpick underneath here and get that brought up into place. Okay, so you may have gathered that, got Mr. Lulu with me. So yesterday, this is tomorrow, from what you were just watching. So yesterday, I had a bit of a boo-boo. I ran out of storage on the SD card. Brilliant. So real world problems, I know, I understand what you're saying. So I ran out of storage, so I couldn't remember what I'd already downloaded, whatever, going on about it. But so I ran out of time. So we're back today, and I'm just going to show you the process of what Lou's been doing. So as we speak, Lou has been an absolute legend and got on with all of the socket alterations for all of these. So in the lounge, he's done all of these. So we've brought them all up, as you've seen from the previous clips. So how cool are they? I mean, in fairness, that is pretty cool, isn't it? We were just saying a second ago is that how much carpentry work goes into doing this. So I wonder whether it's the Chippy that does this or a Sparky previously. So all we're gonna do is just gonna put a blank plate on there. Lou's just extending the cables up, bringing it through, and then we're surface mounting on the top. So we're just cutting up little pockets on the floor just so we can get in and do his thing. You may notice a little bit of trunky poo going on here. So speaking to the client yesterday, and we're asking whether he wants it chased into the wall or not. So they're not quite sure what they're going to do with it all at the minute. So they just said just put the trunking in. So we've got our water feed coming down. So it comes in about here, and then we've got our 10 mil and brought it through. So just for consistency purposes, we've gone the 50 by 50. We need to put an end cap on for those you beady-eyed, but I can't find it in the van, surprisingly. Still waiting on the rack-in from Bot Smart Van. I have ordered it, it's on its way. So that should be here any day now, and I can't wait because my van is an absolute tip, isn't it, Lou? Yeah. It's awful, isn't it, mate? Yeah. Absolute shocker. So the really, really good news is I've managed to get the shower. So the new shower's fitted, much, much better now. I haven't had to destroy all of the tiles, which is what we thought we were gonna do, because that weird thing that was up here was just a control module, like I said at the start of the video. But with all the holes and dotted bits around, I've managed to do it and use the new one as a bit of a cover. So I've got rid of all that. So I've just gone through that. So it's been a bit of an event, in fairness. So the homeowner's now just putting all his furniture back. Absolute winner. And also he is awesome with tea. I mean, we're constantly getting tea. For those of you where you're watching this and you have not offered tea before, and we've done work for you, shame on you. That's all I'm going to say. Shame on you, because that is not the way to do things, all right? So once Lou has sorted this bit out, I think that's the last socket on here, or the alterations that we need to do. I think that's the last one, which is great. So failing that now, so what I now need to do is change over the downlights. So the downlights in here are IP rated, non-fire rated, so we're going to swap those out for these. So these are made by Bright Source. I've been using these for a long time, in fairness. Fully colour selectable. You've got warm white, cool white, and daylight. And believe it or not, I think they come with all of, I think it's 3 bezels they come with normally. What am I on about? Brush chrome, shiny chrome, and white. But then I've just seen on here, that's what's thrown me, that you can order different bezels. Didn't know that. So the black, that would do lovely for my garden room. So yeah, so we're going to get these all fitted up right now. Okay, so we just dropped this out of the ceiling. So we've got a standard halogen MR16 bulb in there, and then it just keeps on going. So then we've got our 12 volt transformer here, and then we've got this chock block, and then our actual twin and earth. So I need to gain a little bit. So I think I'm gonna do one of these one at a time. Might have to re-drill this because I think this is gonna be extremely tight. Oh, hang on. That looks like a joist there. Right, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pop into the loft and have a look.
Nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear.
Right, so at least it's an empty loft, but it's full of bits. So it's basically where the bathroom is right now. Let me just try and figure out, make sure I don't go through the loft because that wouldn't be great. So there's one of them. So that onto the lath, fantastic. There's one there, on that one. So this one over here, oh, let me just clear this out of the way. Oh my God, look at that. They've just chopped all the way through. Jesus. Right, well, that's fantastic, isn't it? This one's even worse. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at that. Almost all the way through. Right, that needs sorting. Oh, I'm doing that. Right, with that light being drilled through in that way, straight through that ceiling joist, there's absolutely no way I'm going to be sorting that out. I'm going to have to bolster up that timber, relocate them. That's a whole different job. But I'm going to take a few photos, show the client, but there's absolutely no way I'm going to be adding more, replacing those lights for that. I think there's a bigger fish to fry, so we need to sort those out. But another headache, you know, and you just think, just want it nice and straightforward. I'll tick those off the list. Never is. Wow, what an absolute nightmare this job has been. Where do I start? So we've managed to get the consumer unit all sorted now. So as you can see, voila, light on. So we've now got it all labelled up, all sorted, all tested out, fault found. So we had faults on the downstairs lights. So we ended up tracing that to a bad connection. So I've sorted that. I've disconnected the garage supply because that was picked up because the garage install down there is an absolute nightmare. Don't want to be getting involved in that. So we've been and sorted those bits out. So also the shower. So the shower, what can I say about the shower? Never ever seen an install like that. So after speaking to the client, they've now said they didn't want to have any of the decor done, so that's why we've done this. So we've ran it all in the trunking and then put it up into obviously the isolator there. So we've got the 10mm and the 15mm water supply, because that comes from below, which is fine. And they've been without a shower for months apparently, so not great. So we've managed to install the Triton T80Z, which is a very easy install, because inside here you can have your water entry this side, that side, and same with the power, you can have it one side or the other, which is fantastic. And we've also managed to do it without having to smash all the rest of the tiles off. Massive winner, so she's done. Now, we've also changed up the pendant, because the pendant wiring was shocking, to say the least. Now, one of the big headaches that we've got, so these downlights, as I've said earlier on in the video, they're non-fire rated and also non-IP rated, so we can't be having those anymore. But there is an absolute problem with those. That one and that one have drilled through 3/4 of the way through the ceiling joist. And I mean 3/4. So we've had to say, no, we're not doing any more to this. We're not touching this until this is rectified, because we're not going to add to the problem. Now, bearing in mind, they're halogens, non-fire rated against the timber. Fire, anyone? Now, like I say, we've always been a real channel, and I mean a real channel. So while Lewis was sorting out this socket down here, accidents happen, and I get it. It's happened. Unfortunately, when he lifted up the board, he cut the board with the oscillator and ended up cutting through one of the heating pipes. So what that meant is I then had to drain all the system down, hence the reason why I didn't film it, because this was at 4:45 at night. Classic, we've all been there, and like I say, the previous videos that I've done, it's happened to me. I did it to a water main. So am I in the position to be telling Lou off? No. Could it have been missed and not done? Yes. But it's happened. It's a life lesson, and I'm sure that he'll be more careful next time. So we did have to sort that out. What can I say? It is what it is. So thank you very much. If you got to the end of this video, I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please make sure you do. Let's get to 20K as soon as we can. I really appreciate that. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really does help the algorithm, and it helps the channel grow. So on that note, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all your support, and we'll see you later.